Hi everyone, this is Michelle Chudy. Welcome to live training on Socially Savvy. And what does that mean? It's kind of a catchy title for training, but as far as, what does that mean to you and what does that mean to me? Being socially savvy to me is being able to navigate social media as a business owner and being a master at it and making it work really hard for you. If you look at the definition of savvy, it means that it's somebody that's shrewd and basically they're really good at practical application of things and also using good judgment. So that's what I mean as far as being socially savvy. You're able to be shrewd in what you're doing within the social media world and making it work for you. So you work smarter, not harder, that you're able to leverage things to bring back, return on your investment, which is your ROI. So that's what I'm wanting to show you how to be and do with this training today. So give me a second. I want to share my screen with you and show you a presentation I put together with some tips and tools and also some reports from other businesses that are being socially savvy as well. And hopefully you're going to take away some not only just some tips, but some practical applications as we go through the training today. So give me one sec. So, okay, I wanted to talk to you first about etiquette and rules of conduct. So to be socially savvy, you really need to know how to navigate the platforms and basically how to act in a setting. It's the same thing that when you go to a business function and you're networking, or maybe you're in a boardroom, or maybe you're just meeting clients, one-on-one. What's the proper way to act? Well, the same thing applies to social media and also the platforms. So first and foremost, you need to be professional. It's something that you need to look at. People see, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is basically another way to voice their opinion and voice, their thoughts. And that's great, but you need to do it in the context of etiquette, especially as a business owner. Okay, so first and foremost, be professional. And if you wouldn't say it in a business or social setting, don't say it on social media, okay? Don't say it online. And also just know that those things don't really ever go away. If you want to put something in writing and know that it's going to last forever, post it on social media. And if you don't want that to happen, then, use some good judgment there. Okay? Positivity. Your posts are a reflection of you and also your brand. So make sure that you keep things positive. And there's always a way, even if you have to say something a little bit harsh or harder to make a point across, you can still find a nicer way to say it. Use the rule of thumb that Jesus always used, deliver things with love. Even when he has to punish us, he does it with love. And it might be, stern punishment, but it's still, with the right heart motive. All right, and then the next thing would be proofread. Same as the above, it reflects you and it reflects your brand. Beware of the tone. All right, what does that mean? So, with any type of writing, whether it's email or even, a pen and paper type of application, tone is hard to convey in something that doesn't have like an audio file. People don't necessarily understand that you're joking when you're saying something, or they don't understand that when you're trying to be serious, or if you're trying to be, soft or whatever. So just be careful how you word things. Try to find the way to deliver it that conveys the tone that you want it to be, displayed as and received as. So if it's something that you're not really sure of, it's always great to get another person's feedback, just to make sure that they're receiving exactly what you want them to actually hear. All right, the second thing would, not the second thing, the next thing would be the two-thought rule. Basically, think twice before you post any opinion or controversial topic. It's something that you want to be tagged with what you're posting on a platform. Do you want your brand and your name to be affiliated with the opinion or the controversial topic? Not to say that you shouldn't weigh in, because there's times that we need to voice things in controversy. Christians are called to be bold and to make, a stance, and to be passive. We're not called to be passive. And, peacemakers aren't even passive. They take an active role. But this is something when you're in a business scenario, think twice before you just, put something out there. Put in a strategic pause. And if you have problems with that, I always ask the Holy Spirit to give me one, because I have learned the lesson the hard way about putting things out there quickly without proofreading, or just being really quick to respond without taking the time to just screen, who's on the list that I'm sending it to. Just put in that strategic pause before you put anything out there. The next thing would be images. Okay, practice some form of governance there. You want to avoid negative and embarrassing photos, of yourself and also of other people. So be polite as far as like when you're posting images. I'm not so nice when I do it with my sister. She doesn't like that. But, family's a whole nother scenario. But when it comes to, putting pictures up there, just be kind. And also remember, it's also a reflection of you and your brand. Okay? So the next piece would be know the platform. Platforms have their nuances. Twitter is different than Facebook and also Instagram. They each have their behaviors and idiosyncrasies between. So take time to observe, go in there. If you're not familiar with how to use one of the platforms, just kind of go in and play around with it. And before you actively start posting, just watch to see what other people are posting and how people are responding. So that will give you a good indicator as far as, what's the rules of conduct. You also can do some research online as far as, what's the culture, what's the behavior. I've done some really nice trainings on the individual platforms as well. I've talked about basically, how the personalities of each. So it's important to know that because when you're on there, you want to make sure that you're not, going in and sticking out like a sore thumb. Okay. There's also social norms and methods of interaction for each. All right. You also want to nix the drama. I think one of the worst things about being on social media is seeing just basically these firestorms of drama that come up. People get in, they post opinions that are very controversial or something that's kind of like a flashpoint for people, and then they're airing everything out and just, wanting people to jump in and to feed off that fire. So, practice a conservative approach there and nix the drama. Also, no lead direct sales pitches. Now, what does that mean? This is a sales lead, all right? So if you have a sales lead that you have, like maybe that has opted in on some of your marketing tactics, and you have their email addresses, and you're able to basically go in and find them on a social media platform like Facebook, do not go in and reach out to them out of the blue and kind of, do a pitch to them on their social media. That's not the appropriate format, all right? So also on the etiquette, no profile or public wall pitches. All right, another thing, what does that mean? You have the ability, if you're friends with someone, especially on Facebook, to go in and post on their wall if their privacy settings permit that. That is not something that gives you permission to go in and to pitch them a product, a service, or any opportunity on somebody else's wall. You put that on your own page in your own posting format and then put that out. And then if they engage, it's appropriate to actually go in and correspond with them. Okay, so this is where you don't want to encroach in somebody else's space and their territory by going out and putting your brand and your placement on their page unless they tell you it's okay. All right, so let's talk about a checklist. This is a think list before you go out and transact. So I want you to stop and think, should I target a specific audience with this message? So is it meant to be for everyone, or is it something that should go off into a very direct message? Maybe an email would be more appropriate. So think if it's the right format. And then would anyone really care about what this content is about other than you? Well, obviously, if it's your business and you're trying to build awareness, that's something that you need to build up and educate. That's different. But if it's something that's an opinion or something that you're going out and just, conversational engagement, think about whether or not it's relevant to post. Will it offend? Okay. If so, does it matter? There are times where you have to do things that are provoking and it may offend. Even Jesus offended people. So not to say that offense is always wrong, but just think about what you're posting and what the end result will be. And is that something that you want to actually truly follow through with? Okay. Is it appropriate for the social portal, or will it be best communicated another way? Again, would it be best an email or a phone call? And that's called channel shifting in the marketing world. You may start off like in a Facebook or social media format, and then see that it's not necessarily the best thing to continue the conversation on social media. You should shift the channel into something that's more appropriate where it's one-on-one or in a private message. All right, then also, how many times have you posted something today? Now, this is where you need to get a feel for your audience and your avatar. It's different when it's personal, but when it's a business account, you want to get a feel, are you over-communicating or are you under-communicating? Because you can actually over-communicate. One of the things, like, is a pet peeve for me, even though my friend accounts, is that when they post back to back, and all I see is, someone's like, 7 or 8 postings. Well, I'm trying to look at everyone's, and I have limited time on social media. I don't want to have to like fish through all their stuff because, like Instagram, you can't necessarily bypass them. You literally have to go through each posting. So how many times have you posted? And, more than 3 can actually be excessive. And did you spell check? Siri has been very damaging to those of us that were excellent spellers and have gotten lazy throughout the years with like spell check and all that. So just be safe, spell check what you're posting, because it's a reflection of you, and it's a reflection of your brand again. All right. Also, will you be okay with absolutely anyone seeing that? So again, is it appropriate for everyone? And just ask yourself, are you comfortable going forward with what you're actually putting out there? And is it too vague? Will everyone understand what you're actually saying? This is also great if you have something where you're doing an educational post, or anything that might have a double meaning, such as words have more than one meaning. So keep in mind when you're posting, and especially if you're dealing with millennials and even younger than the millennials, they use words in a way now that I have to get the Urban Dictionary out to understand what my daughter's saying half the time. So my 16-year-old uses words where they've completely, taken things that, mean one thing to us, and it's a completely different language when you're talking to somebody else. So keep in mind your audience. Make sure that what you're posting is relevant and that you're using the right terms and words to convey what you're trying to say. And then also, how are you using this? Is it an emotional dumping ground? This is something where you're just venting. Is there a better outlet for this? Maybe a counselor, just kidding. But, where's the best place to actually put what you're posting? And then are you using too many abbreviations in the post, and are you starting to sound like a teenager? There are a lot of shorthand postings, a lot of, LOLs and, all the other ones that go along with, and the emojis. There's a point where you degrade the content and the message by putting too much of that stuff in there. So make sure that you have a nice balance where you're not watering down what you're actually trying to say. And also make sure that people understand what your abbreviations actually are. Rule of thumb when it comes to writing, for those of you that don't have a writing background, I actually have a journalism degree on top of my marketing and advertising experience. So when you write something, the rule of thumb is that you always spell it out first, and in parentheses put the acronym so people understand what you're using. So you have that first frame of reference with spelling it out, then the acronym, and then it's appropriate to use the acronym afterwards. So just keep that in mind to make sure that you put give people the benefit of the doubt, because not everyone may understand what you're trying to say or know what you know. So act like they've never learned it before, unless you're dealing with an educated audience on the topic. All right? And then also, if you're reacting, you need to think, is the communication well thought out? Make sure that you're not going, off the cuff, and you're not being really quick to respond. That's where I get myself in trouble, because I'm like, one of my number one strengths is I'm an activator. And that means I get things done. I like to move very quickly, but I can also be burned by that as well. So again, put that in that strategic pause. Okay. And then also, is it something that you really want to share, or is it just you venting? You don't want to be out there and just, dumping your emotional stuff out into a public format, especially if it's a business page. Be restrained in that area. Practice self-discipline. Okay? Now, let's talk about social media management. This is where it's important that you work smarter and not harder. And there's ways to do that, and they have come up with so many different ways to manage your social media, because it is cumbersome. And especially as a sole proprietor, you're basically doing the business ops, you're doing the marketing, you're doing, the social media management as part of your marketing, everything else in between. So, where's the time coming from to do all this? Well, they have instruments out there that can help you manage it all. And this is some of the stuff I just want to point out. And this is not all inclusive, but this is just high level just to get you started. One of the things that you can actually do is link the platforms together. And that means is that you can set up your Facebook to post to Twitter, your Instagram to post to Facebook. All you have to do is Google, how do I link Instagram to Facebook? And the same thing, so whatever it is that you want to tie together, just, go in and Google that. It will walk you through. Desktop is different than mobile. A lot of the mobile apps, it's in the settings. You just go in and you can literally touch a button and it'll post from one account to the other, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to do. So food for thought there. When you do this, keep in mind when you're posting and how it feeds and what it displays like on the other platform. For instance, when you post from Facebook and Instagram to Twitter, it puts a link and it just has a very vague posting on what it's actually about. So from a Twitter experience, it's kind of annoying because you can't really see what somebody's posting. So if you want to link your Twitter account, it might be best to start off with Twitter and have Twitter feed into Facebook. And as far as Instagram is concerned, if you have a private account, people can't see once they actually click onto that link. So your privacy settings are important, and then also just think about that cycle and what it actually displays like when you're in there and linking up those platforms. And also food for thought too, for those of you that are in the throes of publishing your books and those that are authors and authors in the making, you have the ability to go into Amazon and do an author page. You need to do that. That's absolutely critical to build out that author profile. You can actually set up your Twitter feed to post onto your Author Central author page. You can also put that feed into things like your website. So you're maximizing the benefit of displaying, what you're posting, so it's just not on, the social media, and you're getting a surround sound effect. Okay, so another thing you can actually do is embed, and what that means is that, for instance, YouTube, there's videos, and the way YouTube works, you need to increase your viewership of the videos. If you want to monetize, you have to hit certain thresholds in order for them to consider you monetizable with your subscribers and then also your video views and whatnot. So you can embed that code from the video and actually put that short code into Facebook and into your website. And what happens is that when people go into Facebook and also onto your website and they view that video, it will increase the viewership, so they don't just have to go to YouTube in order to see it. So again, you're working one platform and increasing another. So that's something that you can actually do. Another thing that's really cool and extremely beneficial is Canva. If you're not familiar with Canva, it's canva.com. It's a free account that gives you the ability to go in and create your social media images and your postings. Really neat things where you can do a lot for free. They give you, stock images that you can repurpose. But if you do a business account, I just renewed mine. I think I paid like $119 for an annual subscription. And they have this cool function, and you have to be a business account holder in order to do it. It's called Magic Resize. You take one image and it will literally repurpose it, repopulate it, resize it into all the various postings. You pick and choose. Do you want it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, blog posts, email header? You tell it what you want it to do, and you hit the button and it resizes and it populates all these different files in the appropriate size that works on those platforms. So you don't have to figure out, what the sizing is. That could be a nightmare if you're not a graphic designer and if you don't understand pixels and all that other stuff. So it does it for you. Then the only thing that you would have to do is just go in and check the image. Is it, how you want it to be displayed? And just kind of like do the editing and the proofing from that point. Okay, so cross-marketing and sharing, that's what I just mentioned before, as far as like you put one on the other. So that's one of the things that I was talking about as far as the embedding. Another thing that you should do is that when you are on Twitter, share your Twitter posts on other platforms. When you're on YouTube, share it on other platforms. So you want to encourage the sharing between platforms because it amplifies your voice. It also increases the viewership on these other areas, and it lets your tribe that you're trying to build up know that you're actually, out there on these other formats and platforms, so they can engage you in other areas. Okay. Also, there's things called platform schedulers. There's ability within Facebook to schedule your posts, so you can go in and one time, say for instance you don't have time to post daily, you can go in at a set time during the week, populate the scheduler so it will basically launch at certain times throughout the week, throughout the day, and you can do that on various platforms. So just check to see if there's a scheduling capability. I know Facebook definitely has this. You can also hire a community manager. So what that means is that you find someone to basically manage the individual platform, because that's considered a community, and they would respond to your comments, basically, ensure that the postings are up there. I had a contractor that did that for me when I was a VP at my last company, and he did a wonderful job. He found out, when people started falling off, when he was posting too much, he found the sweet spot for us, and also moderated the comments and brought things to my attention when I needed to respond to something. I gave him the authority to respond to certain things as well. So, with a community manager, you decide what their role is and how active they're going to be, but by all means, only bring in someone that you trust to manage your brand, because they're going to be acting on your behalf, because the person on the other side does not necessarily know that it's a community manager unless that's disclosed. Another thing you could do is bring in an intern. This is something that I'm getting ready to do. I want to bring in a couple of maybe upperclassmen from high school that are thinking about going into marketing and advertising, or maybe, somebody in college that's looking for, some real world experience, that I can bring them in and help them do, campaign development, and basically have them work my social media for me. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's a matter of what's the best use of your time? What were you called to do? Were you called to write, or is social media something that's taken up a lot of your time and you're just trying to keep things going and everything's falling off on you're being put onto the back burner? So an intern is something wonderful that you consider. You can pay them, or it could be an unpaid. For an unpaid, you would have to give a letter of recommendation or something, validating their experience. Okay. Also, there's social media management software and applications that you can use as well. And this is something that you need to just keep your ear to the ground as far as what's out there, because it changes daily. But what I wanted to do is show you basically LifeWire's top 10, and this is as of July of 2007. And basically LifeWire calls itself, Tech and Untangled, and they give an all-in view of various things as far as products, services, and whatnot. So here's the top 10 from LifeWire as far as what they saw as the best management application for social media. Hootsuite comes up as number 1. And Hootsuite is an app, and it is also a software, so you can use it desktop, you can also do it mobile. Some of these things are restricted. You just need to check each one out individually as far as how you actually use them. But with Hootsuite, it's the most popular, and it's known for supporting many different platforms, and it offers a wide range of settings and dynamic features. So this is where you can go in and monitor and post to several of your popular networks, just like Facebook. And you can do personal profiles as well as business page, Twitter, LinkedIn, and there's others in there. And to be competitive, a lot of these applications are, looking to increase capabilities. So even though I'm giving you this overview now, they may change and upgrade it, add more features, by tomorrow, who knows? So just, if you're interested, or if it didn't meet your needs at a certain time, go back and check and keep an eye on the ones that you may be interested in. It also has a built-in custom analytics system, and it gives you the ability to monitor selected keywords, and you have the option to schedule posts. Basically what I talked about before, you can do all the scheduling within Hootsuite. So for instance, if Twitter doesn't have a posting capability that's scheduled, you can do it all in Hootsuite, and it'll basically, do the cadence that you want to actually, use in there. Hootsuite has been one that I have used before in business scenarios. Personally, I haven't used it a lot, only because I have been doing my own individual platforms as I'm going in, getting a feel for each one. I haven't chosen one that I'm set on yet. As far as whether or not it integrates with Instagram, I have some other recommendations for you as well. It might be something that is not a one-size-fits-all, and you would possibly use Hootsuite for everything, but maybe Instagram you have something else, and I'm going to give you some recommendations for that in just a sec. Okay, Buffer is another thing that they're saying is the number 2 app, and this is where you can plan a schedule as well, and it's to optimize the social updates by spreading and publishing, just like Hootsuite. So you can use this with Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. So Buffer might be a better fit for you if Hootsuite isn't, cutting it out for you. So it's a simple dashboard and it has a full customization, and you also have the ability to view the analytics. It's extremely important, whatever you use, you need to have the ability to see analytics, because you just don't want to post and not know what's happening on the back end. Analytics will tell you when to post, when not to post, and go forward with that. So make sure that whatever you go with, you have the ability to see what's happening with your posting, who's engaging and who's not. Okay, so there's also a mobile app with Buffer, and there's a web browser extension, and it makes it easier to quickly add web page links and whatnot to that too, and including the titles and images. So compare the two. You might find that Buffer's a better fit for you. Keep in mind, Hootsuite is free. They do have a pro account and you can upgrade. You just need to check these things. The free pieces of the apps gives you limited capabilities, and the professional features tend to give you more functionality. You're just going to have to decide what you want to pay for that. All right, TweetDeck. TweetDeck is something that was really popular for managing Twitter, and it did, well, let me just see how I need to say this. It was able to do more than what it does now, because when it was purchased by Microsoft, they went in and they did away with the abilities. Once they started managing it, they stripped it all away. Okay, does that make sense? So now, if you had TweetDeck before, it only manages Twitter. It does not do anything. So if you just want to work with Twitter, if that works for your social marketing plan, then use TweetDeck. You won't need anything else if you're just dealing with Twitter. It all depends on what your avatar is doing. All right, so it's totally free, and you can actually manage multiple accounts. So if you have multiple accounts within Twitter, you can use, TweetDeck for that. You can follow specific hashtags, and you can also see what people are doing in real time. So it's a nice insight, optical into Twitter, and it also gives you the ability to organize everything on screen. So so you can see it all in one fell swoop. So keep in mind that TweetDeck is meant for the desktop use only, so not mobile. So that's restrictive. A lot of people are using mobile, and TweetDeck is something that it maybe hasn't necessarily caught up yet with the mobile side, but just wanted to throw that out there. It's number 3. All right, then there's SocialOomph, and this is where you can manage your Twitter accounts for free, plus you can do it or use it for Pinterest, LinkedIn, Tumblr, your RSS feeds, and also more if you upgrade. So you can schedule your tweets, you can track your keywords, promote profiles, you can shorten URLs, and basically do all this, all completely free. But the premium account gets you more. So it includes, the follow backs, the automated DMs, and basically, it gives you the ability to add more to what you're doing, and whether or not to find out you have quality users that are following you. And they have a really nice feature. If you like to be billed incrementally, so and more frequently, they bill every 2 weeks if you prefer that, instead of the monthly. Okay. Now there's also something called IFTTT, and it stands for if this then that, and this lets you build automated actions called a recipe. All right, so this is something, as you're getting in, if you're a beginner or if you're tech challenged, this may not be a good fit for you, but if it's something where you like to do things ad hoc, this would be great for you, because then you could go in, there's no limit to the recipes. It's basically, if this happens, then that happens, and you're basically telling it to, post certain things, put things into a Dropbox folder, and it is a really nice organizer and a productivity app that you can tie into your social media. All right, and then we have SpredFast. This is great for measuring analytics. Like I said, you want analytics on anything that you're doing, but if you're in and if you're really wanting to do analytics and focus in on that piece of it, it excels at the data features as far as the integration, and it basically manages and measures the data that's gathered from many social platforms. So this is basically an aggregator type of application. Really cool as far as like going in and being able to grab a hold of things and measure. Now, it's formatted in graphs and can be used to compare and benchmark against other strategies. So this is really nice for big picture too. And it's more advanced. So if you're an average social media user or an average blogger or small business where you're just getting started, it may not be the best fit, but it might be something that you could grow into. So just because you think that you're not ready for it now, don't discount yourself and where you're going to be, a few months from now. So this might be something that you put on your radar to move into as you get more proficient. All right. Another thing about this one too is that you have to request a demo to use it. It's not like you can just go in and test it out. As far as like some, give you like the free trials or whatever, you literally have to request the demo. And just to forewarn you, there's normally a salesperson that comes along with that. Not that that's a bad thing, but they're doing their lead gen very smartly. So if you're interested, they're going to latch on to you and they're going to keep in touch with you and kind of like nurture that relationship through. All right. Social flow. Number 7, this is also a data-driven approach that allows you to publish according to when your users are most active. So this is one that's like a smarter type of posting application software that you can actually do goal-based advertisement campaigns and more. So it allows you to be smarter about what you're posting when. When you start off and you're just guessing, trying to get a good feel of when your tribe and your potential audience is active, it literally is a guessing game, and you're just having to get smarter as you go. This helps you to get smarter faster. So this is the type of app that you want to use if you really need to make sense of your social activity. So if you're trying to go in and find out, is this person really like a good lead for me, or are they just out there just, a cheerleader, they're an influencer, what category do they fall in? It also involves requesting a demo and a salesperson, and it's typically meant to be used in a larger organization that have larger audiences and lots of engagement happening. Not to say that you can't use it for a small business, but this is what it was built for. So you may see yourself small now, but keep this in mind as you're growing. All right, Sprout Social. This is also for serious social media marketers, and it also gives you the ability to publish, in a variety of platforms. But this was built for you to have excellent customer service via social media. So this stops you from having, people post on your social media and you miss it, or maybe a complaint that you need to respond to. So Sprout Social is something that is basically, an active ear for you to find out what's going on out there and allow you to engage with them even more so. It does offer a free trial, but it does require a monthly fee upon the expiration. So just keep in mind that if you do the free trial, set a calendar reminder to go in and cancel it before it converts. All right. And that way, if you do decide to go with it, you'll get the advanced features. Now, this is meant also for like an enterprise or an agency solution and customization, going in and really going in and honing out what specific needs you have for your business. So as you grow, this would be a great opportunity as well. There's something called Every Post. This is for visual content. This is great when it comes to visual posting. So that means, there's imagery tied to it or video, whatnot. It's allowing you to share multimedia content across Facebook, Twitter, Google+, there's LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Tumblr as well. And you can customize your post, you can schedule it, you also can collaborate with team members and get access to social analytics. So the free account, which it does offer, you have limited capabilities and you have tighter restrictions, but you can upgrade, and there's 4 other type profiles or account profiles that you can look into that are affordable based off of your size and scale. So, and also based off your marketing strategy. And then we have something that is called Tailwind, and this ranks as number 10. I'd never heard of this one before until I got in here and started researching this. So Tailwind is also an application that focuses on visual social content, and it is specifically for Pinterest and Instagram. So it's very narrow in its niche. So for Pinterest, you can use this to schedule your post, to find the trends and the insights for monitoring your brand, to launch contests, promotions, and to get access to analytics and reporting. And for Instagram, you can take advantage of the Instagram listening feature. So this is nice because Instagram is something that can be somewhat of a challenge, that when you find things, as you're scrolling through and going in and finding things that caught your attention, because if you didn't necessarily save the post or basically tag it for follow-up or whatnot, it can get lost in the process of customer service. So you can actually listen to what is being, the engagement on Instagram, and then also you can manage your audience, your user-generated content, and also access the analytics as well. So they have plans for everyone from bloggers and small businesses to agencies and enterprises. So this might be something that works for you if you have a highly visual avatar where they're hanging out on Pinterest and Instagram and you don't necessarily need to do some of the other things. So Tailwind might be a good fix for you if you're in just those two platforms and don't necessarily have to manage the others. All right, so now let's talk about the social media marketing mix. Now let's talk about marketing mix. What does that mean? Marketing mix is basically your mixture of marketing tactics as far as what you're doing to market yourself. Are you doing email? Are you doing radio, whatever your social media marketing mix is? Are you doing Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Snapchat, whatever that is? You need to decide what you're doing, and I want to show you how to create your secret sauce. And we all think, well, I'm going to assume that you know what the secret sauce is. That's your secret recipe that makes you extremely good at what you do, that everyone loves you for who and what you are. So I wanted to give you at least some research to show you some data derived in 2007 from 1,000 small business owners from across the United States. So they were polled on digital marketing goals, tactics, and challenges for 2017. And this is to show you what their marketing mix is. And with you being a business owner and building out your proprietary system, you need to decide how you're going to market yourself as well, especially in the digital format. If you're wanting online, automatic, streams of income and just building that out, well, if you're going to be online, you have to have a digital marketing plan. I'm going to tell you that just from my marketing background. You can't be online without a digital marketing plan. So part of your mix needs to be comprised of at least some of these things that you're seeing here. There's social media, there's digital advertising, there's search engine optimization, email marketing, and of course you can print advertising and direct mail, which you would actually link them back in to your social media and your digital, and then there's content marketing, and of course none of the above. Well, I think you can see right here that 56% are planning on doing social media marketing. It is a must if you're in the online digital world, okay? Another thing too, as far as looking at which platform, which platform does your business use regularly? Now, keep in mind, I'm showing you this is based off of the research of what these 1,000 small business owners are doing, but it is always, always, always driven by your avatar. You want to market where your avatar is, and then also where the influencers are. An influencer is someone that has an impact on your potential client, your potential, consumer. So an influencer is someone who tells them basically what to think and how to do things and whatever, and not necessarily controlling, but they basically influence their opinions and their behaviors, okay? So those are the two areas that would influence where you actually want to post. So you can see that there's Facebook, there's Twitter, Instagram, then LinkedIn, YouTube, and then none of the strategy here, and then Pinterest. And of course, there's so much more out there as well. But Facebook, by and large, the largest place that people are actually posting. And that's predominantly due to the fact that a lot of the influencers are on here because, Facebook's the giant in the social media world. And if you need to know more about Facebook, go in and catch my my training on Facebook and Instagram. It's a dual training, and it will give you the download on the power of Facebook. All right, so again, avatar based off of, where they're hanging out and also the influencers. And you also can see where, what kind of content does your company create to help, get customers. So this is to show what they're doing on the different platforms. Over on Facebook, they're posting on social media to get likes. And then they're sending emails basically to educate and to inform. And then there's blogging, that they're posting articles, which can also be shared on Facebook and the other platforms, and even on Twitter. So keep in mind, you don't need to stick to one area. If you blog, maximize those posts. And then there's direct mails that you can send. You're also creating videos on YouTube and populating those in other areas such as Facebook. You can post those on Twitter. And then also offering downloadable content like ebooks. Powerful to do this. Maximize your platforms in order to do this, okay? So now, the secret sauce for you to create your own secret sauce, you're the one that comes up with the recipe. So it's not like you're going to go out and say, Michelle, what's your secret recipe? You know, what's your secret sauce in order to do what you're doing? Well, what works for me is not necessarily going to work for you because God made me unique. I have a unique message in a niche that is very specific to me. You may have similarities that you can borrow from me, but what it's going to come down to is what has the Lord given to you? And it comes down to these areas here. Know your audience, because your audience will determine where you're going to post, what you're going to do, and what platform. Know who influences, like I said before, because you want to use them as someone to basically do surround sound and amplify your voice. You want to find your kind. And what that means is, you know, leverage your industry. Where does your industry counterparts hang out? What platforms are they using? And find out where they are and place yourself there and leverage the tactics that your industry is using to educate, to inform, to acquire, and retain the consumer. And then also, what's budget friendly? You know, you may actually identify that you have a need for something, but you can't afford it. Well, do what's free first and build up. Once you get some more income coming in, then you can expand to areas that, you know, may cost you money. So whatever's budget friendly, and then also what actually integrates into each other. So for instance, you may find that your avatar is on Instagram, but the influencers or on Facebook, and find out that the platforms integrate. Well, YouTube's also another area that you would want to use YouTube because it can house your videos. Your avatar may not necessarily be on there, but it is an area for you to put information and source that into other platforms. So you may be on YouTube whether you want to be or not, just, you know, because of needing to put your tactics there or your marketing real estate. And then also, what best expresses you and your brand? That is your secret sauce, and you're going to come up with that. And if you are struggling there, ask the Holy Spirit to take you down that path and to show you, okay? And then I wanted to take you through this really cool thing that I found. I was like, it was so good that I had to like go in and break it up and give it to you. There is a cheat sheet that's out there that is for 2017. So basically, if you're going into the social media world, which I know that you are, this will help you as far as navigating the different platforms, as far as like the idiosyncrasies, what works and what not. So this is when you're going to use social media. You're going to use social media when it's an integral part of your marketing strategy and your content strategy. When you're shaping your brand, because, you know, social media helps to shape your brand. When you're engaging your audience and wanting to, you know, get them to basically interact with you. And then also when social media is impacting your return on investment and your bottom line. So is it feeding you financially? By all means, this is when you want to use social media. But let me take you through real quickly by platform as far as what this looks like. You know, there's Facebook image sizing. To me, this is so helpful because people struggle in this area. I'm a marketer. I have graphic designers, you know, and I still have headaches with pixels. It's like pixels, inches, and all that other stuff, and trying to find out what works. And it takes me a lot longer to do stuff because I am not a graphic designer. I just want to be one. So I live vicariously through my my business partners. But anyway, this tells you basically the dimensions that you need to have something display nicely on each of the platforms. So you can see basically what the profile picture or the photo needs to be, like a 180 by 180. So as you're going into things that resize like Canva and various things, you can go in and set the pixel scenarios, and Shutterstock actually does this too as well when you're resizing images. So you can go in into their editor and put in the pixel criteria. Cover photos, what it actually looks like. Keep in mind that this is different based off of desktop and mobile, so it will tell you basically how to set it up. So also what the share photos are going to look like, and as far as like the highlight images, you need to know this because when you are developing things to share, you want to control what that looks like when it's actually being resized. So keep in mind when you're choosing your images, you want to choose something that is going to resize well. You don't want a really busy photo, because as they take it down to a smaller image, it's going to cut some stuff off, so it's going to degrade the impact of the photo if you have something that's very busy that they need to have it blown up in order to understand the details of it. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're going through these platforms and as they're resizing things as well. They're going to do it with what you actually start off with, the original image. All right, there's also, now this is an eye chart. I'm not going to read all this stuff. I want you guys to go back in and get a hold of this. And just so you know, like I said, that link is on there, and it is actually a social media site that is very helpful for other things as well. But there's shortcuts for your computer as far as like, instead of like going in to find all the various things on the application or the platform itself, you can do these things for, and this is for Apple and also for Windows. And it tells you the best times to post and the highest level of activity within Facebook. You know, they're saying that the highest level of activity is between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Again, this is overall based off of all activity. You want to drill down to when your avatar is most active. But to start off, this is nice to know because you can start off by using this and the suggestions here to get smarter on how to use it for your business. And then also new features. You know, they have Facebook Live, there's instant articles, and there's slideshow ads. And then also looking at the trends for 2017 and beyond, something that is really coming on like crazy is chatbots. Basically, if you're on any type of online format, there are things called chatbots or chatbots. They're robots that are artificial intelligence like Siri that you're interacting with. So if you're on Facebook and if you have a business account or a business page, you're getting messages from, I think it's pronounced Chudy, and that is the actual chatbot that they're using, and it's 24-hour customer service, and it's geared to answer questions. So if it's something that's in their area of intelligence, they're able to respond. So you're not talking to a live person, you're talking to this robot that's able to help you and then minimize the impact on human resources. All right, so also organic reach is all but gone because they're doing in the algorithm, and they're basically influencing how things are displayed. So organic is being challenged within Facebook, so just know that when you post something and it just goes viral, there's a lot of things they're doing on the back end that's minimizing that happening on its own without being influenced by an algorithm or paid promotion. Okay, and then also artificial intelligence is also being integrated as well. All right, so there's things for Twitter, you know, looking at the sizing and what's best to use for there. And then also best times to post would be like 1 p.m.'s most time to retweet, and then 12 and 6 p.m. are the highest click-through rates. And then also new features, there's a dashboard, there's images and media that are no longer contributing to character count. So they're changing the experience because they're trying to be competitive. So keep in mind these platforms are starting to look a lot alike just because they're losing engagement as people are jumping on all platforms. So you're going to see a lot of them pick up another platform's features and capabilities. And also, you know, there's moments for their trends that, you know, going on. I've covered a lot of this in the individual platform training. You'll get this in detail. So use this to find out, you know, best data posts, best, you know, the must-use tools. There's some things here that I haven't covered in this that for the individual platforms, you can go into this area here on the cheat sheet and find out what works best for the individuals. And then also there's something for Pinterest, looking at the profile photo, the pin sizes, and also the board display as far as like the best look of the image and the right size of photo to use for the thumbnail. And then the must-use tools, again, Tailwind, there's the if this then that for Pinterest, and then Canva. I mentioned that as well. Best times to post would be, you know, pin at 8 to 11 p.m. and the peak times 9 p.m. and the best day is Saturdays. And video, I'm going to say this every time you see me, as long as I'm doing training, you got to do video. No matter what platform you're on, you have to do video, even video for your blogs and video for your websites. All right, so Pinterest is coming in very strong with video content as well. All right, and then YouTube is challenging to some degree when it comes to display of covers and whatnot, getting that to look right. I've always had a really hard time with my cover image there, and I don't know why, but this is so helpful. I've not tried this out yet to make sure that it actually works the way that it's supposed to, But this gives you the dimensions. Also notice that the full size display is at the 2560 by 1440. So just keep in mind, depending on what they're seeing it in, whether it's mobile or desktop, it will determine how it's displayed. And then also what the video uploads are looking like. And then best times to post, would be 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And you also want to avoid the 5 to 6 p.m. because it kind of gets lost in the algorithm. And you have like the best days would be Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. Obviously people are watching a lot of content. YouTube has a very high engagement time rate of 40 minutes. So people are going in when they have time to actually stay on the platform and watch. And then also sharing tips and tricks. Don't miss this part here. This is really cool that this is an all-in look for each of the platforms, okay? Branded content is a trend to watch as well because it's also positioning you to be picked up by advertisers to come alongside of you if you want to monetize, okay? And also brand partners. And then Instagram, I went ahead and showed you the two different looks of the logos. There's the old version and the new version. So if you see that you're not confused, this is what it started off with, this is what it is now. And then also, the best sizes for the images. And then also, excuse me, the must-use tools. Pinterest and Instagram are tightly tied together in how they display. So, and also the sharing too. So they are two separate platforms, but they work well together. Okay, just because of the dynamics of how they work. So this also helps as far as Saturdays are the best days to post, and the peak time is 3 to 4 p.m. 7 days a week. So Instagram is something where people are on it throughout the day, but the highest post activity is from 3 to 4 p.m. on average. Okay, LinkedIn is changing rapidly. So just so you know that every time I get a feed from them, I'm in LinkedIn all the time. But LinkedIn is something that you need to go in and just keep up with. But this gives you at least a good starting point for right now because, like I said, this is as of 2017. And the best days to post are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Obviously, it's in flow with the work week. People are jumping back into work on Monday, not spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. And then, of course, the weekends are weekends. A lot of people associate LinkedIn with work. So they kind of like, time out on it just because they want to decompress from that as well. So the must-use tools are over here as far as, things that you may want to consider if you're leveraging LinkedIn. And then also the new features that this is great if you're going out and really wanting to partner, do joint ventures as well. So don't lose the grip on the HR, the human resources side of LinkedIn, not just the promotional aspect to promote your business. Okay. Up and coming social media platforms. Just to keep your ear to the ground on this, you need to know what's the rising social media because everyone's coming in trying to get their share of the pie. Snapchat has been pushing and pushing and pushing to come in and to find their space. From a marketing standpoint, very difficult to find your fit in Snapchat and how it operates, but just know that it's coming up into the marketing world. Also Blab. Don't know a lot about Blab, but just know that that's one of the fast rising social media platforms too. Go out and learn about those things so you can keep your eye out for them as well. And there's Onealo, which is a shopping network, and then Yik Yak. What a nice name. It's fun to say. Say that 10 times. I'm not going to, but you can try. You're not on recorded audio. But okay, so I challenge you from everything that you've learned today, that go forth from today. I want you to learn the rules of engagement for one platform. And then I want you to friend, follow, or subscribe to 3 people. You pick your platform, so whatever fits for that platform, whether it's a subscribe, friend, or follow. And then I want you to check out Hootsuite because one, it was the top recommended software application, and also it's free. Thank you for signing in and taking part of being socially savvy. And I just know that you guys are going to do fantastic at going out and learning how to navigate these things. So, take advantage of the free resources. Don't get overwhelmed. If it's too much for you, take a break. It's one bite at a time is how you eat the elephant. And don't forget about your challenge. I want you to grow. I don't want you just to be a learner. I want you to be a doer. And that's something that we as Christians, that we're not supposed to be just, hearers of the word. We're supposed to be actually applying it. And it's the same thing with the knowledge that the Lord has given us. So take what you're doing, put it into action, go take your mountain, and God bless.